We have traveled through the Scroll of Stratagems, from the psychology of the commander to the grueling reality of the siege. Today, we reach the summit, waging the perfect war. Sun Tzu's perfect war isn't about the most glorious explosion or the most decorated hero. It is a war of efficiency, preservation, and overwhelming odds. It is the ideal state where the victor gains everything and loses nothing. Sun Tzu's checklist for the perfect war starts long before the first shot is fired. It requires perfect political moves and excellent alliances. The goal? To capture the enemy without hostile action. Think of this as the grand strategy. In the modern context, a perfect war involves isolating the opponent so completely, politically and economically, that their will to resist collapses. In the early days of the invasion, Ukraine's ability to secure excellent alliances across Europe and North America transformed the conflict. By turning the enemy's potential quick win into a global political quagmire for Moscow, Ukraine moved closer to Sun Tzu's ideal of using political moves to checkmate a physically larger force. One of the most striking parts of this lesson is the idea of preservation. Sun Tzu says you shouldn't just destroy the enemy, you should turn them, preserving enemy troops, lands, and equipment to use for your own side. Ukraine launched a highly sophisticated surrender hotline called I Wanna Live, or Хочу жить. This is pure Sun Tzu. By encouraging Russian soldiers to surrender voluntarily, Ukraine preserves those lives, reduces its own casualties, and often gains intelligence or equipment. Taking the enemy whole and turning their resources against them is the hallmark of the perfect war. Sun Tzu is famously unromantic about combat. He tells us there is no such thing as a fair fight. If you find yourself in a fair fight, your planning has failed. He gives us the golden ratios of engagement. 10-1, surround them. 5-1, attack them. 2-1, divide them. Equally matched, you can offer battle, but it's a risk. Inferior or unequal, avoid or flee. He warns that while a small force can put up an obstinate fight, physics and numbers are relentless. Eventually, the larger force will capture the smaller one, unless the smaller force uses superior stratagem. In the defense of Kyiv, Ukraine avoided the obstinate fight in open fields where Russian armor had the advantage. Instead, they divided the enemy in urban bottlenecks and forests. They refused to play the numbers game until the odds favored them. Conversely, in the Donbass, we see the obstinate fight Sun Tzu warns about. A grueling battle of attrition where numbers and artillery volume become the deciding and devastating factors. The war tip here is a reality check. Aim for the perfect war, but be realistic. The further you climb towards perfection, the more you use diplomacy, the more you preserve your own men, the more you tilt the odds in your favor, the higher your chances of victory. Perfection is the North Star. You might not reach it, but it's the only direction worth marching. Waging the perfect war means being a master of the unfair advantage. It means knowing that a captured tank is better than a destroyed one, and a surrendered army is better than a dead one. To summarize this lesson, the perfect war is an exercise in total efficiency. The political foundation. Victory starts with alliances and planning, not bullets. The rule of preservation. The best victor is the one who inherits a functioning land and a useful workforce, not a wasteland. The inequality of victory. Never seek a fair fight. Use the math of 10 to 1 or 5 to 1. If the odds aren't in your favor, change the game or leave the field. In the invasion of Ukraine, we see the constant struggle to reach these ideals. Every drone strike that preserves an infantryman's life and every diplomatic summit that strengthens an alliance is a step towards the perfect war. Sun Tzu reminds us that the greatest generals aren't the ones who love the fight, they are the ones who love the result. We have reached the end of our journey through the Scroll of Stratagems. We've looked at the grit of the siege, the math of the battlefield, and the psychology of the commander. Now, we bring it all together into one final vision, the perfect war. Sun Tzu tells us that the perfect war isn't found in a clash of steel, but in a masterpiece of planning. It is the realization that true victory isn't about how much you can destroy, but how much you can preserve. In the context of the Ukraine conflict, we've seen these lessons play out in the 21st century. We saw the failure of the siege when irritation replaced strategy, but we also saw the brilliance of attacking the plans through intelligence and the strength of alliances that turned a local fight into a global stand. As you move forward, keep the 5 essentials of victory as your compass. Number 1. Know when to fight and when not to. Selection is the first step of a genius. Second, handle all forces with care. Whether you are a giant or the underdog, know your math. Number 3. Unify the spirit. An army or a team with one heart is invincible. 4. Stay prepared for the unprepared. Victory belongs to the one who waits in readiness. And 5. Lead without interference. Trust the boots on the ground over the voices in the palace. Sun Tzu's final war tip is a reminder for all of us. Never seek a fair fight. Use every political move, every alliance, and every ounce of your wit to tilt the scale so far in your favor that the battle is won before it begins. The goal isn't just to be a conqueror, it is to be a strategist who leaves the world whole. This concludes our study of this lesson. Remember, the best weapon you will ever carry is the one between your ears.